Good morning. Good morning. Come on in and say hello. Hello. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday. It is almost the new year. I will say briefly, there's a part of me that's kind of, I know this sounds odd, but it feels like 2020 has been so long. Sorry, I'm putting some oil on my foot. It feels like 2020 has been so long that it almost feels weird to leave it. And it's been filled with so much emotional back and forth. It just, like, this new year feels, I don't know, it just feels really weird. Anyway, good morning. So I spoke about this on my Instagram stories last night, and I thought I'll talk about this morning, and we'll see where it morphs, because you know how I go. Like, I start here and then my brain is like pshoo, pshoo. So let's see where squirrel monkey brain takes me this morning. But it always has a theme, like it always ties together, right? So, you know, if you saw my live yesterday, you saw me in some rare form. Polyamory has been a wonderful experience for me. I realized that it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago when I was like, yeah, this is definitely my path. And then, you know, in between then and now, I did attempt monogamy again, but it just didn't click. It just didn't click well. Nothing bad, nothing like that. It just didn't click well. And so I said, all right, well, let's not do that. But so the exciting part, I guess I wanted to, good morning, all. Damn, what the hell? Listen, let me say this right now. I really feel like, as much as people don't like to hear about sex and poly stuff, as soon as somebody gets on here talking about it, and I can't see right now who's watching all, but as soon as people, you know, start talking about it, everybody's like, whoosh. You know, you start talking about some other stuff, folks are like, meh. It's so funny, the censorship that happens, but yet sex is the thing everybody wants to hear about. I'm not talking about actual sex this morning, but so I was with my lover on Sunday, and, you know, we did talk about exchanging. Like, he asked me if I wanted to exchange gifts. Like, he'd asked me a couple of days prior. He's like, do you want to exchange anything? And I've been seeing him for about 3 months. I met him pre-COVID, and we were just cool. And then, like, late summer, we kind of, you know, like, met up, you know, went out to eat, and it was off to the races since then. So I've been seeing him for about 3 months. When I met him at the event I was at, this is like in February, March, I met his partner at that time. I didn't know it was his partner, because I didn't know him. He was on a panel, he was speaking, and it was really cool. And we just all went out to eat afterward. And so she was there, but I didn't know that. And they were on their way to some other event afterward. So fast forward, you know, when I met her again, because I did meet her, I came over to his house and she was there. And I was like, oh, I've seen you before. She's like, yeah, we met. And I was like, oh, I was like, hey. So the three of us were just kind of hanging out. No, it wasn't like people think like, if you're in a poly lifestyle, everybody's having threesomes. It is not that, first of all. It's not that. Like, it's like a V. Like, he's here, I'm over here, she's over here. And we know each other, right? And she's really cool people. And so I said, we don't need to exchange anything. I mean, first of all, it was last minute, and I wasn't gonna run out and get anything Um, but she, I guess in case we did exchange gifts, she suggested to him. She's like, and this is the story he's relaying to me. Maisha likes yoga. You know, why don't you get her some yoga blocks? And I was like, you see, she suggested that? He's like, yeah. And I was just like, because I do like yoga. I do already have yoga blocks though. But it's the idea that this other woman took the time to remember, think about, know about the things that I like and suggested a gift to him. Totally opposite the narrative that so many people live by. So let me preface this with saying, I don't think everyone should go be polyamorous. You know, and I don't really want to use that term anymore. It comes with too much baggage. It's like using the word God. People think they know what it means, but it doesn't. I really, in Progressive Love Academy, really started using this. And if you're interested in open relating or polyamory, check out Progressive Love Academy here on Facebook. I prefer open relating because people think polyamorous, they think a dude and like a harem. And I'm like, that's not what it is. So open relating, because I can have other partners at this point in time. I don't have time. I really don't. I've got too many things going on. COVID's still happening. I met this guy before COVID, and so it's different. I'm not trying to go out. There are no events, go out and meet people and all of that. I'm really picky. It's an energetic thing for me. I meet a lot of nice people, but there's an energy that has to key into me, like a key to a lock. If that's not it, it just doesn't work for me. That's not everybody. But that is me. So it's not like, you know, there's this harem thing, and we joked about that. He joked about, you know, creating a harem, but that's not his thing either. But what excited me, again, was her thinking of me. And there's such this narrative among women. You know, Black women in particular. I mean, because that's what I am. That's what I know. That's the space I'm generally flowing in. Like that, there's always this fighting over men, you know, and you know, he's mine, and don't look at him, don't talk to him, and there's not enough good men, and so I gotta like hoard my man, you know, so that no one steals him, because there are no men to be found. There's this story that keeps popping up. There are no good Black men. There are no good Black men. There are no good Black men. And I'm like, where are you looking? First of all, and this is to my monogamous people, like, where are you looking? And what does good even mean? Like, because I run across so many. Now, just because I run across a whole lot of good Black men doesn't mean I'm meant to be in relationships with them, right? Like finding a good man doesn't mean that's the man you're supposed to be in a relationship with. Am I not? Fuck, I wasn't recording this. All right, that means I have to download it later. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I think that that's part of the problem that we have. Hold on, I got notifications popping up on my screen. But there are tons of good Black men out there. And I think this narrative that there are no good Black men out there is the thing that makes Black women feel like they got to hoard. Like, don't talk to, don't look at, don't speak to, don't even think about another woman. and I don't know how well that's working, first of all. I really don't. And men, please, look, some of y'all can be the most possessive. Like you think like you found a woman like it's land ho. Like you're literally like, I just discovered this. I have planted my flag, and this realm now belongs to me. Because being in a relationship with someone is not about ownership. Like, these are not your pets. There's no collar. I mean, unless you're into BDSM kink, then absolutely, please, by all means, put the collar on with the leash, you know, all the good stuff. But I know that's not what most of y'all are trying to do. I mean, and like you're trying to do it without doing it. It's the ownership part for me that really gets me in any relationship, by the way. Because look, there's some open relating folk that bring those those ideals with them over to that side, you know? And I'm like, no. But it was so refreshing to me. And it is so refreshing to me to be in the presence of people who were like, look, you enjoy your time with that person. It doesn't take away from the time you enjoy with me. Like, there's no subtraction here. It adds to, it expands you. So when you come here, there's even more expansion. And then when you go there, she gets more expansion. And the same thing, if when I get another partner, there's expansion. There's no limit on love. Love is not it's not a thing you can only give to one person. Like, the way you love your partner is the way you love your children. We equate sex with love. And so then there's some confusion. Love has nothing to do with sex. You can be very much in love with someone and loving someone, and you all don't have sex. That's how warped this society is. Tied two things together that have nothing to do with each other, honestly. They don't. People have whole families, intact, beautiful, raised children, have sex, deeply fulfilled. But it's not this like romantic love thing, that thing that everyone's looking for, the butterflies in the stomach and the, he makes me feel all, that's not love. That's infatuation. It's lust at best. It wears off. And then when it wears off and the chemicals calm down, y'all are looking at each other like, I don't think I love this person. The feelings are gone. Love is an enduring, everlasting thing. And the funny thing is that most of y'all be out here in church, but didn't read, what is it, 1 Corinthians, whatever, like didn't actually read the passage. Like, love is patient, love is kind. Nowhere in there does it say, love is your clit tingling. Nowhere in there does it say, love is when your penis gets hard when you see her and you just want her all the time. It lists a whole bunch of things that actually have nothing to do with sex. So people confuse the two all the time, and they're not the same. You can have great sex with someone that you don't love. Most of y'all have done that. You can love someone and sex might not be all that, but you love them, and so you want to work with and learn and grow with them. But I think I kind of digress. I'm still stuck on the beauty and the openness of the fact that this other woman was like, this is what this woman likes that you're seeing. Maybe she might like this gift. And that there's some experiences that people are having, men and women, where it's like, you can't have friends of the opposite sex. You literally, like, there are people out there telling their whole grown up partners, you cannot have friends of the opposite sex. I don't care that you've known them for, 10 years. I don't care that y'all, roll together. That's just a no. Why? Because I'm scared. I'm scared that if you hang out with them, that you're going to love them more than you love me, and they're going to take you from me. And I really want that to sink in your head, because what you're saying is, I'm going to be in relationships with people but I don't actually believe that people love me enough to want to stay with me. That's actually what you're saying. You think it's, no, they might leave. No, what you're saying is, no one wants to stay with me. And so I have to make sure that I keep them safe from other people so that they stay with me. And I don't trust them. They could betray me. And so I have to set up rules and prison-like systems, because it's a grown-ass adult, in order to keep them with me so I can be okay, so I can feel safe. But why the fuck would you want to be in a relationship with someone that you can't trust? And do you really think that that's a normal part of being in a relationship? Are we so twisted in thinking that relationships don't work that we're willing to say, I don't really trust them, but this is the best it's going to be. So let me put these rules in place that everybody told me to. No friends of opposite sex. You know, some people impose curfews on their partners without having honest conversations of, I feel frightened when, I feel scared when, because that's the truth, right? I feel scared, you know, I have this concern that you don't have enough love for me, because that's really what it is. Can you be that honest with your partner? I don't think you have enough love for me. And so it frightens me, the idea of you speaking with someone of the opposite sex. When I saw you flirting, well, it looked like flirting to me. You know, I felt this pit of fear in my stomach, like, oh no, is he gonna leave me? And maybe I need to examine why I think that. Why would I think that you would walk away? Is it because the last guy did? You know, is it because of X, Y, you know, all these things. And men, same thing. Men, same thing. I've known, you know, I was in a marriage with a man who was very clear that I was like, my interactions with men of the opposite sex were to be like 6 feet apart type of situation. And I went along with it. I didn't know no better. You know, that was okay. And it's not. When you're in a relationship with someone, whatever the configuration, by the way, because like I said, there's fuckery and open relating and polyamory too. Please, the people who are open relating are not more enlightened. Like, I don't consider myself to be a higher elevated human being because, you know, I don't have a problem, you know, having a partner who has partners, or, you know, having more than one partner. That's not what it is. It's just that happens to be how I'm wired. Now, like I said in my stories, you know, I could, 5 years from now, I could say, you know what, I really feel like I'd like to dedicate myself to building something with one person, whatever that is. I feel the call to do that. I might do that. So please don't, if I come on here like 5 years from now, Maisha, a hypocrite, she said she was polyamorous, and look at her on here with the one dude being monogamous. Well, because I chose it. See, that's the thing, I chose it. Most of y'all are out here running around doing shit because it's what you've been doing. I choose my shit. I choose if I'm gonna have one partner, if I'm gonna have two, or if I'm gonna have three. I choose it, and then I own it. I own it. So yeah, I might change my mind. I don't know. But right now, this is where I am. But it doesn't make me some more elevated human being. Right? I don't like that. I know there's some people in the polyamory world who are just like, well, I can do more. And, you know, I've overcome jealousy. No, there's jealousy in that too. It's just that I think the major difference is, and I've said this before, we talk about it. The conversations like I had with you, like, we talk about it. I feel jealous. We say that. Like, I get sick when I every now and again I tune into this reality TV bullshit, and it really pisses me off. Like, it angers me. It angers me how men and women are viewed. It angers me how they edit it. I watch it sometimes just in a social psychology type of way, just to like see what's going on. But the lack of communication that takes place, I'm like, what is this bullshit? And these are grown people. And do they not have a counselor on set to help them deal with these issues? Why is a woman pouring a drink in another woman's face? Why are they getting into fights? And there was one love triangle on one of these original Love and Hip Hop. There was the three of them. Clearly he was seeing both of them. And the woman just, it's like, after a while, look, you keep trying to be the one to take him back from the other one, and he keeps going back over to the other one. And I'm like, what about you enjoys this ride? Because you're still on it. Either get the fuck off the ride, or accept the fact that he's got another woman. But we get caught up in this idea of, I want you, you should be with me because I want you. Be clear, I want you, so you should be with me. And so I'm going to make it so that you're with me. And anybody who tries to take you from me, I'm pissed at them. Grownups. The difference is, for many people in open relating, we talk ad nauseum. The men talk. The men talk about their feelings. They talk about what they desire, what they need. They talk about what works for them. They talk. The women talk. So some of these same communication issues don't pop up in the monogamous world as much, because for some reason monogamous people be real like secretive with their shit. There's a lot of fear. And maybe that's also the difference. Like, I don't have any fear. I met his partner. I know who she is. I know what's going on. In a monogamy world, people are still trying to have that sense of freedom, but feel that they have to hide it, because if they don't hide it, they'll lose the person that they're with. So a lot of monogamous people just aren't even being honest. How are you getting in relationships with people and you're not being honest with who you are? And the divorce rate is what, 55, 60%, something like that. And it is my personal hope and goal, as someone who has been divorced, because I was not honest with who I was, as someone whose parents got divorced, to really like pause, like hold fast. Why am I getting married? Am I, what's my reasoning? Is this a societal expectation? Do I want to spend the rest of my life with this one person? Do I want to spend the rest of my life with one person? Let me be honest about this. And if all the answers are yes to that, then forge ahead. Because I think marriage is a beautiful institution. I think monogamy is a wonderful thing. I think all of the choices are wonderful. And please, for the love, y'all who are monogamous, don't turn your nose up at people who are in open relating relationships. Don't do that. I wonder how could you do that? How could you share it yourself? Don't you feel? I feel like I'm in an open, honest relationship where I don't have to worry about what it is that my partners are doing. I feel happy. I feel at peace. And sometimes I think, some of the disdain that some people feel sometimes when they see folks who are open relating or polyamorous, like the more you turn up your nose at something, the more you should probably look inside yourself and see where it is that you are possibly wanting to experience that. Because really, what is what someone else is doing in their relationship? How does it hurt yours? Like, why does it bother you? If there's a woman out here who's got like 3 husbands, why do you care? Like, you got your one husband. Why you clutching your pearls at her? You got your good dick at home? You got your good relationship? Why do you care? Why do you care that he has, two women, 2 partners? Like, why do you care? They're over there living their best life. Why is it bothering you? Unless there's some part of you that, that kind of wonders about it. I don't know. And that's okay. By the way, I'm not an expert in anything. I don't ever call myself an expert in anything because I'm always a student. But if you have questions about open relating or polyamory, you can ask them here. I'm happy to answer them. And believe me when I say, like, the questions that people come up with like, I think the biggest issue people have is like STIs or something. And then I have to say, open relating isn't, and not that it's nothing wrong with it either, but open relating isn't the same thing as swinging. Like, swinging is when you go out and you have sex with a lot of people, right? I got lots of friends in the swingers community. They have a great time. You have sex with a lot of people and you enjoy it. You know, condoms are used, good times are had by all. Open relating isn't swinging. It's not the same thing. It's like, it's being in a relationship with a person and then being in a relationship with a person. And so you're in relationships, like you talk to each other, you call on the phone, you go out, you do things. Maybe all of you go to a family event together. Maybe some of you don't. You set up the boundaries around things, you know, like you, but you have these discussions. I think that's like the biggest thing that people seem to think of, or they go like, well, what if somebody gets pregnant? That's between the people in a relationship. Same thing as if it was just two people. Like, discussions are had. People talk. Anywho, I feel passionately about this because, you know, I'm beginning to see that, not beginning, like communication is huge. And again, I've said it before and I say it again, most folks out in the world do not know how to communicate and are not honest with how they feel about things. They're not honest because they're scared. Scared of rejection, scared of not being loved, scared of being alone, and they will ride along with whatever is happening in order to avoid those uncomfortable feelings. There's no way to avoid the uncomfortable feelings. They're still going to come back and bite you in the ass one way or the other. Except for now, there's been a whole bunch of expectation piled on top of that makes whatever this heartbreak is going to be feel even worse. And you cannot go through this life trying to avoid pain. You just can't set it up that way. And everyone that you end up with isn't always the person that you're supposed to end up with. And that's just the reality. And we have to accept that that's okay. So I think if you know, I'm thrilled. I'm so happy to not be a part of the narrative of chicks fighting over men. First of all, I've never fought over a dude in my life, ever. I've known myself to be cheated on once. I've known it. First of all, cheating is not a deal breaker for me. So what some of you might consider cheating, I don't. I just don't. In high school, a boy I was deeply in love with, you know, in his boarding school. He went back home, I went back home, came back to school senior year. Turned out he came back with a girlfriend. She was a transfer student, was coming to our school. Like they'd met over the summer, you know, to get to know each other since she was coming back to the school. And so apparently they ended up getting together. Now he didn't tell me any of this over the summer, right? And so when we got back to school, and I found out, like, she and I had a conversation. I'm 17, y'all. I've been doing, like, this has always been for me, you know, like, I didn't own him. He wasn't mine, you know? And so she ended up breaking up with him because she didn't know that he had a girlfriend, and clearly he and I weren't together after that. And then we went through a period of time where I was like, I was angry with him. And then we ended up being like the best of friends. Like we wrote about each other in our fucking yearbooks. And then the boyfriend after that, I lost my mind, you know, and then I tried to be like all possessive and whatnot. I did. I was one of those people. I was one of those people that would page him until like I knocked every number out, right? Because I was so insecure and so afraid. I was like 18, 19 years old, you know, first sexual experience, right? So my hormones are all attached to this dude. And I was just like, you know, where is he? Why isn't he here? You know, what's happening? He's always with his friends. I can't find him. Yeah, I went through that period. That was horrible. That was horrible. And to think that there are people still doing that in their 30s and their 40s is just like, no, we got to move past that. It doesn't, because you need a life. Like I needed a life. I didn't have a life. Like my life revolved around this guy. And that wasn't good. And it wasn't good for him either. I mean, you know, we ended up being friends later, but that's a whole other story that I'll tell you another time. Anyway, I'm glad to not be a part of the narrative of women fighting over men and there's not enough good Black men, you know, there's plenty. I run into them all the damn time. If y'all are having issues finding good Black men, I like, talk to me. I don't know where you're looking. I don't know what signal you're putting out. Because I talk about this. What energy are you emitting? You can't say, I want a good man, and then be like, but these men are all liars. You can't say, I want to get married, but in your head you got, these men are cheaters. You can't say, I want a man, but you still haven't gotten over the fact that your dad left. You can't say, I want a man, but you still haven't dealt with that first heartbreak, or the fact that your mama told you that men are only for money, and just get out of them what you can get out of them. And you're not going to find one. So if you want to find a good man, first of all, we need to define what good is. I feel like I need to be creating a whole program around this shit, but I just don't want to. It's not in me right now. Maybe it'll come later. In order to find a good man, you have to put yourself first and fix your antenna and shit. Then you won't have to find him. He will come to you like a magnet. Like, what you you don't have to look for anything. Right? But in order for you to get to the point of not having to look for anything, you got to wade through your shit and your pain. You got to deal with your trauma. Men, same for you. Like, I talk to the woman because I'm a woman, but men, this applies for you too. Y'all out here spending $200. There's still these arguments. You ought to spend $200 a meal on a date, and then nothing happens. Stop doing that shit. I'm a firm believer. Just don't do that shit. You don't know her. What the fuck? Get to know her first. Be her friend. And if she's not interested in being your friend, and she's only interested in what you can purchase for her, it should be very clear to you. And please don't think that, well, this is just how women are. No, the fuck we're not. That's how some women are. And if she's looking for a sugar daddy, I don't think there's a problem with that. Seeking Arrangements is good. Ashley Madison is good. You, my brother, are not the one. There's plenty of dudes out there willing to pay for her time. And some of y'all will disagree with me on this, but it becomes too much of an issue. People aren't friends. They want to see what you can do for me. Look, I have to go because that'll be a whole thing. That's a whole nother thing. All right, that's it. I love y'all. I do. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't speak to you so real like this. I would just let the bullshit continue. But I'm just excited that my lover's partner thinks that, I should get a gift, even though we didn't exchange. I like that she thought of me. Now I feel like I need to think of something for him to get her for Valentine's Day. Some of y'all's mind is like blown. Yep, I think I'm gonna do that. Now I got to get to know her a little bit better. This is how you build community. I love you. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.